Hello everyone, welcome to a video. Today we are going to be looking at Assetto Corsa Competizione and it's call it build 2, which is today Misano and the Bentley. It's, to be honest, I know it's in beta, but I do kind of expect it to be running a bit better than it has been. The main issue that I've got is on beta 2, what the improvement was is they've added VR. That's working, but it's barely working. It only works on one car, not on. You can't have a whole grid of cars. It's just not allowing it. You know, I've got a reasonably decent processor and graphics card, but you can pretty much only get your car on the grid. Running more than your car is just not happening. So today what I've done is I've done a video, as you all can see now, of me driving a practice on the Misano track, a fixed screen position, and what I'll do, we'll just go through the basics, and at the end I'll do a bit of VR work as well in practice. So you can see from this position, I've decided to sort of run quite close to the dashboard, trying to get used to the track. Really, it's I don't know. It's like I've never really played on Misano, so for me, it's actually not a bad track. But it's getting used to the fact that most of the corners you either have to brake, like here. That's quite a tricky corner. As you can see, because I've just run wide, as you sort of breaking into it, so you can get a really unstable back end, or the other corners are 180, so they're quite slow. So I've really got to get used to the track. It's really quite difficult. The Nürburgring, which we already know is already out on the game, I obviously find myself migrating towards that all the time because I just know that off the top of my head. You can just see I'm all over the place. Anyway, so where we're at with this game is I'm still trying to fine-tune the game to make it run well, to look good at the same time as well. It's taking a lot of sort of going into the game, adjusting something, coming out of the game, trying it, no, that's not working, going back in. I'm nearly there. The only thing I've got to do now is clear up the sort of, I don't know, suppose you could say it's like jagged lines, like the white sort of curb lines, and in the sort of in the horizon it's a bit jaggy, which might mean I've got to adjust the anti-aliasing, which is sort of, it just smooths things out, which I hope to do. So, but you know, the way I look at it is all the time that we're playing this, we're uploading videos or we're commenting on the Assetto Corsa forum, the developers are getting a good idea of what's working, what's not working, and things that they can improve. And that's all we've got to do, so that hopefully by build 3 they would have mastered some other issues that they've got. But other than that, like so far, I appreciate that we only got 2 tracks and 2 cars, although obviously when it comes to the actual full grid you do have more than 2 cars. It's working well. The only problem is it's the graphics and trying to get your computer to run something that runs really smooth, and at the moment it's just not quite working. For those that are watching the video, I am running a Logitech G29. The way I've kind of done this is I'm still getting back into sim racing after being out for a couple of years, and so getting the available cash to get a decent PC triple screen monitor setup, etc. It costs a lot, and the steering wheel, that, you know, there's nothing wrong with the Logitech G29. It's a fantastic wheel for the price. Just my budget just cannot extend to 500 odd quid at the moment for steering wheel, and trust me, I'd love to get something like that, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. So for the meantime, I'm running the G29, and if you're out there getting into sim racing, then the G29 is probably going to be, for a budget, the best wheel that you can get. I can't fault it at all. It's the only thing I'd love is to be able to change the different types of steering wheels depending on the types of games that you're running. But overall, I think I ended up paying, I think with discounts you can end up paying something in the region of £150. Currys do and PC World do normally do quite decent deals on those. So yeah, Logitech's the way at the moment. But overall, going back to the game, we're going to probably just slightly finish. We're going to finish this lap now, and then I'll go into just like a replay, so you can sort of see what it's like out on track. The replays, you know, they're top notch again, and you can see it runs really quite smooth. As I've said, you can just slightly see, I think, that it's all some of the lines on the car and on the track just need to be improved, but I generally feel that's more to do with my setting up in the settings that I just need to do some work on, and I need to get a polished off version, and once I've got that, then I think it will run fine. I think, however, that I've sort of made changes with the first introduction of the game, and unfortunately I've then had to change those settings again for the second introduction. So when you work it out and you get it right, then along comes, for example, pre-build 3, and you've then got to make those changes again. I was, as I say, trying to do a lot of VR work, and so I've messed around a lot with the settings, so I just need to get those back, because VR is just not going to work, not for the meantime anyway. And so yeah, but for the meantime, we're just finished driving around the track in this view, and we'll cut to some VR work. Right, so we are inside the Bentley now. I think I've probably mentioned it before that this is the only way you're going to be able to run VR. It's just one car on track. You can't really do anything else. There's a few other slight issues that I've got. There's an issue with the HUD layout, where you've got some of the messages that are displayed, they come up right smack bang in your face and in your eye line. They're not displayed nicely down the bottom or on the top, etc. That's something that they've got to work on, because that gets in the way a lot, especially at the start of the race, where you can't see anyone around you because you've got a big screen in front of you telling you that you're on a formation lap. as I say, on one player, it isn't too bad at all. I do worry because it it does become a bit slow in some parts, and that's only with one car. So Project Cars, for example, runs, I've found, very smoothly with a number of cars on the grid, and this one with one is struggling slightly, so they've got to do a bit of work on it. But on Assetto Corsa, the actual full, the normal game, it ran and does run really well. So I've got every faith that Kunos are going to, pull it out of the bag. Because I generally feel that at the moment, certainly, that VR is the way to go, and I've got a number of games coming up shortly to do with Project Cars that you can see in VR mode what I do, and you'll see just how well it runs. And then you've got other games that just don't even entertain it, and F1 from 2018, for example, how you just don't have VR on that one, I've got no idea. As I run wide yet again. Also probably could do with a bit of an easier setup with VR in regards to when, for example, you're sat in the car like I am now. I've got a sim rig, so I can sit in the seat. And what would be nice is the ability, like Project Cars, to be able to move the camera up and down, or call it the seating position. And it's a lot easier to just move the camera up and down, left to right, backwards and forwards. On this game they need to just work on that a bit more. So it's a lot easier that when you sit in the car, you've got a nice seating position, everything's clear, and you can see everything. That would also be handy going forward as well. In case you're wondering, I'm not pushing it, but I run wide, so don't quite work that one out. But I'm still obviously trying to get used to the track, so I'm not pushing it too much. I'm not hooning it into the corners, heavy braking. What I will say, if you are listening and you can help me, I know it happens in the real world. When you really heavy brake, you get like an alarm sounding coming from within the car, and I've noticed in real life in the Blancpain GT Championship that the same happens again, and I'd love to know what that actual sound is for. So leave it in the comments below if you know. Thought I'd have a look around the car, as you can see in the VR mode. It's quite a relatively sort of simple dashboard on the Bentley, I find. You've obviously got all the buttons down the bottom there on the left hand side, but in general it's not like a touring car where there's like bits and pieces all over the dash, and that's what I find quite interesting about this car. It's very tidy inside. But anyway, that's pretty much going to wrap up this video for today. Thank you for watching. If you've got any comments at all, please leave them down below. I'll be doing a lot more videos with Assetto Corsa and doing a bit of Project Cars as well in VR mode. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Please like the video as well, so it just gets the video pushed up the ranks a bit. And I'll catch up with you all again very soon.